So which papers are best for portraits and people photography? Well, hello and welcome to this Fotospeed video with me, Tim Jones. Today what we're going to be looking at is my top 5 picks for paper for printing portraits or pictures of people. Now, there's such a variation of styles when it comes to portraiture and pictures of people. So we could have street photography, we could have studio photography, we could have environmental portraiture where people are kind of in their own environment. So there's a big gulf there, which means that we have a big choice of papers that we can use. But I do have 5 kind of go-tos. So I will talk through those and give you some examples of why I would pick that type of paper for that type of subject and that type of portrait. But before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe. Just click that subscribe button in the bottom right. Now I will have a 15% voucher at the end of the video, so please stick around and that will give you 15% off all the lovely papers I'm talking about on photospeed.com. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive in and have a look at my first choice for portraiture and people photography. Okay, so I've made some prints and let's dive in and find out which my first paper is. Okay, so I thought I'd go big and go Platinum Brighter to start with to get it out the way, because Platinum Brighter is going to work great with any type of portrait, be it studio, colour, black and white. It's just going to be fantastic. It's got a high white point, so it's just going to make everything pop as well. So your highlights and shadows are just going to look stunning, and the shadows are just going to look deep, and the highlights are just going to look like they're popping off the page. So mainly for black and white, it looks absolutely fantastic, but also colour is great. It really also holds detail as well. Like in this portrait here, we've got so much detail in the skin and so much story in the skin as well. Could be a hard life, could be kind of, there's a story to tell within this portrait, and Platinum Brighter as a paper tells that story as well and enhances it for you. So first thing on your list should be always a box of Platinum Brighter on the shelf. Okay, let's move on to my second choice. Okay, there's something a little bit different actually with this one here. This is Platinum Cotton. So quite a warm paper, but works really well if you've got warmth in your picture. So if you've kind of got those golden hour shots kind of thing, a bit like this where there's loads of warmth, you've got this light coming down through the picture here, it's just going to add so much to the picture and it's just going to make it come off the page again. All the papers I've picked are smooth papers, possibly one that's kind of not, but I pick smooth papers for portraits because of skin. We don't want heavy texture going on it, especially in a picture like this or black and white, because it wouldn't really emphasize the skin. It would kind of make it look a little bit mottled and things. So there's probably one rule, is to stay away from textured papers. However, that rule's there to be broken. If you're finding it's working for you, please use it. I would say my general rule is though, if the texture is noticeable in the picture and it's distracting from the picture, then you probably shouldn't be using a textured paper. But those rules are there to be broken. Now, talking about rules being broken, I have picked Platinum Etching for this beautiful black and white here. Now, it is a slight textured paper, so I did just say about not using textured papers. However, this is very slightly textured. Now, we've got a lot of grey area here. We haven't really got a deep black or a kind of a white highlight in here, apart from the border around it. So a paper like Platinum Etching, which is just slightly off-white, works perfectly for something like this, where we've got a lot of grey and mid-tones in the picture like we have here. and it works beautifully for black and whites. If you've got any wedding pictures in black and whites of bride dresses and things like that, platinum etching works amazingly and works absolutely fantastic. I'm really happy with this print actually. I'm happy with them all, but this one really worked well, especially with just the grey areas and things. It happens, it's a great picture. Not one of mine, I'm afraid, but just looks great, works really well, especially with the white suit and things. So platinum etching, well worth having, again, having a box on your shelf to have a look at. Okay, so from kind of a mid-tone black and white, we have gone for bright colour, this bright reddy orange of this picture here. Nice picture of a camera in there as well though, keep it kind of on theme. But I've gone for NST Bright White here. Now I could have gone brighter with this as well. Equally it would look fantastic because of that high white point and it would really make the colour pop. However, the NST Bright White looks lovely on this paper and I quite like it for this kind of subject. It doesn't mute the colour, which something like a smooth cotton may do. But it really just brings that out and really just kind of, especially with a white border around it, it really makes the colour pop. It's a nice little tip actually to add a border to really set your picture off. I don't put any stroke lines or anything around it. I used to, but not anymore. But yeah, NST Bright White works really well. Again, a smooth paper, so we're not going to kind of affect skin tones or anything very much, but works fantastic, really nice. Again, bit of a go-to paper. All these papers will work amazingly with landscapes or wildlife and things. So they're kind of the staples, I think, anyway, of my kind of paper shelf. And the ones I go to the most and the ones that are readily available to me. Okay, let's move on to my last choice. Okay, for my last portrait here, now I've gone back to the photo range of papers and our PF Luster. Now, really cost effective, amazing paper, but I wanted to come back to the photo range to say that actually portraits, in most cases, work absolutely amazingly on a Luster type of paper, or the pearl we offer as well. So we don't have to go down the fine art route with the brighters and everything. We can actually just print it on a Luster and it looks absolutely stunning. What the Luster does is it does skin tone absolutely amazingly. It really does hold that lovely skin tone in here and set it off against the greyness of the background here as well. It's done a fantastic job. We probably could argue that maybe use the pearl with skin tones because the Luster does have a very slight texture. But I think it works really nicely. This skin isn't perfectly retouched and smooth and things. So I think with a little bit of texture, we can get away with it. And also it adds a little bit of depth as well. So again, PF Luster, I think, again, it's one of my go-tos. It just does everything really well. So always have it on the shelf. Well, hopefully there's my top 5. The ones I go to and the ones that I have under my desk and the ones that I have readily available. So if I'm ever doing any printing, I can just grab them. I don't have to go hunting for any exotic papers or anything anywhere. And they look absolutely amazing. We've gone from kind of the PF Luster, which is kind of that everyday photo range of paper, which is quite cost effective, right up into the fine art worlds of the NST Bright Whites and platinum cottons and brighters and things. So hopefully there's something for everyone in there. And also, don't forget that there's 15% off using the voucher code FSYouTube15. And that will give you 15% off Fotospeed papers on photospeed.com. Now, I've kind of given you 5 papers here, but please have a play around. You've probably got your own choices and own kind of go-tos when you're thinking about portraiture and colour and black and white and things like that. It's just a guide. There are no rules, so please just have fun and start to experiment with papers. I always say the first thing you should do with a paper is touch it and feel it. If you don't like the feel of a paper, you're not going to print on it. And that's one of the reasons I print on the Luster instead of the pearl, because I prefer the feel of the Luster. Simple as that. Both will produce very similar results, to be honest, but I just prefer the feel of the luster. And it just comes down to that. So I hope that's been useful, and I hope you have an amazing week. And please put any comments below, and I will try and get back to you. I do read all the comments, and I do my best to try and get back to you. It may be a little bit slow coming back to you, but I will. Don't worry. So until next time, bye-bye.